My name is Alan, and this is the 20th of August, 2013. This is being filmed in my apartment here on Ohio Street, Bangor, Maine. This video is for Danita, and only Danita. Even though it will ultimately be published, public, the words are for Danita. Last night during our visit there at Acadia, I explained to you my concern about you being released too soon from Acadia, and you started to cry right away. Danita, I know it hurts you. I, of all people, know that very well. But I promised you a long time ago, when we first met, that I would always be there for you. And I promised that no matter the circumstances, I would always do whatever I could to help. By me telling you that I felt that it was inappropriate for them to release you too soon, it's because in my experiences of what's happened in your past, they've always released you way too soon, because as soon as the medication starts getting through your system, you appear to be better, so they discharge you. It's a temporary feeling of being better. This time around, kiddo, and I don't mean kiddo in a bad way, but this time around, we're going to do it the right way. I'm asking you to trust my instincts on this. No, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist or a clinician, but I am somebody who's very familiar with what you have. A lot of people make the false diagnosis thinking that what you have is chemical. It's not. It's organic. What you have is directly associated with the brain. Does that make you any different than anyone else? Absolutely not. It just simply means that you need medication, and I'm not going to lie to you, that medication will be for the rest of your natural life. Over the course of your life, you will probably go on different medications. Again, I'm not saying that as a doctor, because I'm not a doctor. But I can only tell you what I know. And what I know, I'm not going to lie to you about. It hurts me to see you have to be there. You shouldn't have to be there. But at the same time, I know that even you know in your heart that this time around it's necessary. Because this time around, we're all going to do it the right way. And we're going to help you. Instead of temporarily getting you better and then kicking you out the door, we're going to see to it that the medication is adjusted. We're going to see to it that the right medication is administered. And we're going to see to it that the appropriate people are available. Counselors, doctors, mediators, friends. People you were hanging around with, Micah, Chris, Gino. You can't hang around those people, honey. You can't. They're not healthy for you, because they're not even healthy for themselves. I know they're your friends. I know that. But what I do know more than anything is that they don't care about your internal well-being. All they care about is chasing that high. Where can they get the next joint? Where can they get the next nose full of powder? Where can they get the next drink? Who can they disadvantage? You already know this. You've seen it with your own eyes, you've heard it with your own ears, and you've felt it with your own body. When I brought you here to this apartment, It wasn't because I was trying to keep you hostage, even though it may have seemed like that from time to time. It's because I myself know what it is to be an addict. I am an addict. I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict. Several years ago, I was very fortunate enough to recognize what was happening to me, and I changed it. It didn't change overnight. It didn't change in months. It took 9 years, but I changed it. I've been free from heroin for 19 years. Do I still crave it? Absolutely, every day. I won't lie to you about it. Every single day when I get up out in the morning, I have to convince myself not to go downtown and put heroin in my veins. Every single day I have to convince myself the reason why. That I can't sniff cocaine. That I can't smoke crack. That I can't do mescaline. That I can't pop pills like the candy. Yes, I've made major slip-ups by smoking weed, drinking vodka, beers. Even I recognize that. That's why I had to pull away. When you had that bottle of vodka here in my refrigerator, you remember I made you dump it out and how angry I got? That wasn't because I wanted to be. It's because I knew that if I didn't speak up, I would only be doing you more harm than good. I'm not the best person to get along with. I'm not easy to get along with. But of all things, there is one thing that I am easy to do, and that's listen to. Some of the things I say sound like far-fetched fairy tale stories, and there's no way I can prove it other than give you my word they're true. But I have lived the life you're living now. At Acadia, you mentioned that it hurts you that you know you have a mental illness. Join the crowd, hon. So many of us do. I do. What I have is mood swings. I can be happy one moment and then completely depressed the next. With the help of the medication that I'm on, I'm able to stabilize that. So that now the depressed state is very, very little. As long as I stay faithful to my medication, I stay good. It's when I convince myself that I'm all better and that I don't need the medication, that's when I get down. That's when I become depressed. That's when I give up. It's hard for me to say what I'm about to say, but I think I need to in all due honesty. Even though when you and I first got together, you wasn't in a manic state, you wasn't lucid, you actually was in your right state of mind. And you and I talked, and we sat down and we actually had a full dinner together, something you very rarely do. That's when you and I started talking about getting close. It is true that I fell in love with you. I don't hide that. But it's also true that I wouldn't allow myself to go to the extent that you asked me to go. Because I didn't feel that it was fair to you. I didn't feel that it was appropriate for you. Yes, we role-played. We role-played extreme bondage. We role-played sexual activity. We role-played a lot of things. But the big picture in reality is to carry that forward into the everyday real world. It right now is not appropriate. You need to be in your right state of mind. You need to be able to make those choices logically, healthily. And what I mean by that is you have to be able to make the choices because it is what you want, not what your illness tells you you want. You need it to be healthy, because if it's not healthy, then it's unhealthy. And I know this sounds like I'm talking in rhyme, and I'm not. You have a very special gift within you, and that gift is art. Anyone who disputes that is a fool. Anyone who disputes that is a fool. I've seen your artwork. I've seen you sit down to a blank piece of paper and literally turn it into a piece of art. A very beautiful piece of art. But the true form of art comes from inside your heart. That's where I want your love to come from, inside your heart. As long as what's inside your heart coincides with what's inside your brain, then it's true and real and healthy. Anything other than that, it must be avoided. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm a friend, somebody who loves you. Over time, you and I will be able to sit down with your mom, Deb, and explain about you and me. Right now, I think the most important thing is for you to get better. In order for you to get better, you need to put that little note to use that I put on your wall there at Acadia. No more drugs. I know how much you like pot. I know how much you love smoking it. No more. I know how much you like vodka. No more. I know how much you like mushrooms. The magic mushroom. No more. And I know how much you like hanging around with people you consider friends, such as Micah, Chris, Gino. No more. Those issues, those things, are the very reason that you're in Acadia. They are not concerned about you. Only what you have, only what you can provide. Go to either of them and tell them that you no longer smoke marijuana, no longer drink, no longer make those bad, irresponsible choices. And I guarantee they turn around and walk away, because that's all they are seeking. How do I know this? Because that's who I was in my past. I was a manipulator, I was an alcoholic, I was a drug addict. Am I still an alcoholic? Yes. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. Am I still a drug addict? Yes. Once a drug addict, always a drug addict. That's why it's extremely vital that we addicts stay away from the very drug that turns us into monsters. I know this video is rambling, and I know it sounds like a lecture, and it's not meant to. I just wanted you to know that even if I have to pick you up and carry you, I will help you. But you've got to help yourself before I can even begin to help. By you being there in Acadia, agreeing to stay until you're better, and whatever place we can get you to that will legally, fully help you, then that shows me that you're willing to give it a shot. And that's all that I need, is just to hear it coming from you and to see the action behind it. To do the very best to get better. Is it going to happen overnight? No. We both know that. Is it going to happen in weeks or even a couple months? No. This is a lifelong issue. Having a chemical issue with the brain can be done away with in weeks, sometimes months. Having an organic issue in the brain, the reality is it never goes away. It will always be there. The medications they have today can alleviate those issues, give you a straight thought and thinking process. In other words, you're no different than you or I or anyone else could ever be. You're human. Does that make you special, unique, different? Absolutely not. Does it make you special in that you're somebody that I really care about? You're damn straight it does. Now, your eating habits, I understand it's difficult for you. We'll work with that. No, I'm not going to start nitpicking. You know me better than that. But you need to start eating a healthier diet. No more mixing 90 different components into one meal. It stops. Donita, it stops. No more using cloves as a way to trip and get high. That shit stops. It stops. No more. Because each time you do that, you place yourself one step closer to Arcadia or death. And I'm not saying that to sound rude or mean. I'm saying it for your own fucking good. I don't want to wake up one morning and to read in the paper, here lies Donita, a very special artist, a very beautiful woman, somebody loving, kind, compassionate, dead of an overdose or suicide, etc. I don't want to read that. So I'm making you a promise, a commitment, and I'm not going to back away from it, even if you tell me to, even if your mother tells me to. I refuse. I will not back away from it. My commitment is this. If I see you making unhealthy choices that will in fact harm you, I am going to intervene. And if it means calling the police department, a hospital, 911, whatever it takes, I am going to take that initiative, and I will make it happen. And if I have to go to court and literally fight for your survival, I will. Now, Deb, at some point you're going to watch this. I know that. And this is not being said to step on boundaries. I'm not interfering with family business. But I'm going to have balls enough to tell you, I love your daughter enough that I'm willing to sacrifice my own freedom to see to it that these idiot morons that have been hurting her over these years no longer hurt her. They filled her full of poison, drugs that would kill you and I. They filled her mind full of nonsense that mermaids are true, that fairy tales are actual reality. They've convinced her that unicorns dance on the bottom of her bed at night and that are real. The bullshit stops. They've convinced your daughter that these childhood fairy tales are reality. And people call them people friends. That's bullshit. And it stops. With or without your help, Deb, I'm telling you right now, and I'm going to have balls enough to tell you to your face, I'm not going to allow them to hurt your daughter anymore. And I know what I'm about to say is probably going to get me arrested. But that's a responsibility I take on myself. If Chris or any other guy rapes your daughter again, I make a vow to you right now with my eternal soul, I will kill them. And I will plead guilty in a court of law right now. If anyone ever rapes your daughter again, I will kill them. Period. Because I'm no longer going to stand around and watch these people rape your daughter. I know you and your daughter have a lot of tension and stress, but I'm going to do something that is crossing the boundaries.
Step back, Deb, and look at your daughter and see who she truly is. She's a gift. She's a precious gift. The anger, the hatred, the frustration, the fear, all of that is irrelevant. The sadness, that's not irrelevant. The love, there is no hate, only love. Because inside every parent, there is a love beyond what anyone ever will ever comprehend. And I see that between you and your daughter. Sure, you two get so irritated at each other, you want to claw each other's eyes out and pull each other's hair out and step on it. I see that. But afterwards, I also see the glimmer in both your two eyes. That's the love that only a mom and daughter has. I love your daughter very much. I love your daughter more than you really know right now. But in time, you'll understand more. I'm going to do what most guys in her life have never done. I'm going to walk that extra mile for her. Because if she's not strong enough to do it on her own, I'll be damned if I'm going to turn around and walk away. I'm going to do the right thing, pick her up and carry her that extra mile. That's how much I love your daughter.